I feel like I'm getting hammered.
Caitlin Clark has faced plenty of challenges on court, but nothing has frustrated fans more than the inconsistent and, at times, downright baffling officiating. From blatant no calls to unnecessary technicals, it's beginning to feel like the refs have a personal vendetta. Is this just tough competition, or is there something deeper at play? Every time Clark steps onto the floor, the energy in the arena is electric. Fans rise to their feet eager to witness her signature deep threes and dazzling assists. But instead of focusing solely on her game, Clark is forced to keep an eye on more than just defenders. She has to watch out for referees seemingly waiting to blow the whistle at the most questionable moments. The once roaring crowd often shifts from cheering in support to booing officiating decisions that defy logic.
Indiana leads by 11 with 5:48 remaining in the second.
So what's really happening? Are these just bad calls, or is a pattern of bias starting to emerge? We are breaking down 10 of the most outrageous, game-changing calls that had fans, analysts, and even players scratching their heads. And trust me, when we get to number 7, you won't believe how blatant this has become. Let's start with one of the most ridiculous no calls in recent memory. It was September 22nd, the start of the playoffs. Indiana Fever versus the Connecticut Sun tensions were high and all eyes were on Caitlin Clark, the league's most electrifying rookie. The stage was set for a thrilling showdown, but instead fans were treated to one of the most egregious officiating blunders of the season. Just minutes into the game, Seward D. Carrington lunged the ball, but ended up hitting Clark square in the eye. The force of the impact left Clark momentarily dazed, blinking, as she tried to regain her focus. The crowd waited for the whistle and waited, but it never came.
Clark, harassed by Carrington, finds Boston. Clark gets hit in the face by Carrington and is down.
Fans erupted in outrage, expecting at least a foul call, if not a flagrant, but the ref stayed silent. The play continued as if nothing had happened. Meanwhile, Clark, clearly affected by the hit, struggled to find her rhythm. She finished the first half shooting an uncharacteristic 1 for 9 from the field, including 0 for 6 from beyond the arc. A nasty bruise started to form around her, a physical reminder of yet another missed call.
Clark is still down after taking a shot following the pass to Boston.
And Park is still down after taking a shot following the pass to Boston. This was just the first of many moments that had people questioning what exactly the officials were doing. Was this just another case of tough playoff basketball, or was it something more? Either way, the message was clear. Clark wasn't going to get any superstar calls. If anything, she was going to be on the receiving end of some of the worst non-calls the league had to offer.
As everyone else has seen this angle. I'm calling her in, and I'm saying to her, I need answers.
Fans erupted in outrage, taking to social media to demand accountability from the league. One furious viewer called it the worst officiated basketball game of all time, while another slammed the refereeing as an absolute embarrassment. But despite the mounting frustration from spectators, Caitlin Clark did what she does best, kept her focus, and continued battling. And the biased officiating didn't stop there. Throughout the game, Clark endured relentless physicality, held shoved, and repeatedly hit, yet the whistle remained silent. No calls, no protection, just an expectation for her to play through it all. Take a look at this moment when Marina Ma aggressively defended Clark as she earned her first postseason bucket.
Clark trying to get around Mabry. Clark to the rim, reverses it home through the...
Even the game's commentators couldn't ignore the excessive contact, calling attention to the blatant fouls, but the referees remained completely indifferent. Clark, however, didn't let the missed calls define her. She found other ways to contribute, proving yet again why she's one of the toughest competitors in the league. But this wasn't just about one game. It was a glaring example of how officiating can shape outcomes, and more importantly, put players at risk. Then came another moment of shocking physicality that left fans questioning the boundaries between aggressive defense and outright dangerous play. This time it was a matchup against the Connecticut Sun on August 28th. Everything seemed normal until Alyssa Thomas bulldozed through Clark, delivering a shoulder check that sent the rookie crashing to floor.
The look here at the heavy contact.
The arena gasped in disbelief. The hit was brutal, yet somehow the officials only assessed a common foul. Fans were livid. That's not basketball, one person tweeted. Another described it as a cheap shot leaning in with the shoulder. The overwhelming consensus was that it was a flagrant foul, and the failure to call it, as such, only fueled concerns about the officiating in the WNBA. Even after enduring relentless physicality, Caitlin Clark refused to let it shake her confidence. She shook off the hit, got back on her feet, and went straight to work. Her ability to bounce back and stay locked in on the game was a testament to her mental toughness. Despite the blows, Clark continued making an impact, proving why she's one of the most determined athletes in the league.
For Alyssa Thomas.
Yeah, they're not going to look at this. They might.
It's gotten the fans here fired.
But just when it seemed like Clark had overcome every challenge thrown her way, a new controversy emerged, this time from an unexpected source. Imagine this: a timeout, a fired-up rookie rallying her fans, and then out of nowhere a veteran stepping in with a blatant shove. How would the referees react? The matchup against the Seattle Storm on August 18th had already been an intense battle. With the game nearing its climax, Clark was near the Seattle bench, hyping up the crowd, feeding off the electric atmosphere. And then suddenly Skylar Diggins-Smith made her move. Without warning, Diggins-Smith stepped up behind Clark and delivered a shoulder check, forcefully pushing her out of the way. The initial excitement in the arena turned into stunned gasps, quickly followed by a wave of angry boos. But the referees once again let it slide. No foul, no warning, just silence. This moment instantly ignited a debate about sportsmanship and fairness. Fans flooded social media, demanding answers. How is this not a foul? One asked. Another questioned why certain players seem to get away with blatant aggression, while Clark continued to be scrutinized for the slightest actions.
Right now, I'm sure you've seen Skylar Diggins assault. Caitlin Clark after Indiana blew out Seattle.
And yet, while Diggins-Smith's push went completely unnoticed by officials, Clark's own displays of emotion and passion on the court have been met with quick technicals and warnings. So the question remains, was this just another example of inconsistent officiating, or is there a deeper issue at play within the WNBA? That same August 18th showdown against the Seattle Storm was already intense, but what happened next turned up the heat even more. With 7:14 remaining in the third quarter, Caitlin Clark missed a shot, and in a moment of frustration, lightly hit the padding of the basketball hoop. Before anyone could even process what had happened, the referee's whistle rang out. Technical foul.
Caitlin Clark gets hit with a technical. After
the call sent shockwaves through the arena. Fans were immediately divided. Was this really an act of unsportsmanlike behavior, or simply a player reacting to a tough moment? The debate raged on as Clark later explained her reaction, but the damage was already done.
Got a technical for basically being mad at myself because I missed the three and then I went and hit the backboard, and he told me it was disrespectful to the game of basketball.
Clark didn't just move on, she dominated. Ignoring the shove from Diggins-Smith and brushing off the technical foul, she kept her energy up and remained laser-focused. The result, a commanding 17-point win for the Fever, with Clark dropping an impressive...
I think he fired me up to continue to play a lot harder. I thought we got a lot better after he did that, so I want to thank him for that.
But here's where things get really interesting. Is this type of reaction consistently penalized, or is Clark being singled out? Let's take a closer look at how referees have handled similar situations for other players in the league. Are these rules being applied fairly, or is there a clear double standard at play?
Nothing to do with my team. It had nothing to do with their reffing. Had nothing to do with other team. It was just because I'm a competitor.
Technical fouls were just the tip of the iceberg. As the Indiana Fever squared off against the Las Vegas Aces, a split-second collision would spark outrage and raise a chilling question. How far is too far when it comes to physical play in the WNBA? September 11th, Gamebridge Fieldhouse. The energy in the arena was electric until it suddenly wasn't. Jackie Young's hand made contact with Caitlin Clark's face.
Michaela on your wet A in that group. Kennedy Carter nearly picks off the pass. And Diana Taurasi, they'll count the bucket. And one coming up for DT.
The reaction was instant. Boos rained down from the stands, disbelief spread through social media, and fans were left questioning what they had just witnessed. But Clark, as always, refused to dwell on it. She shook it off and got back in the game, yet the moment hung in the air, a glaring example of the difference between tough defense and reckless play. Clark's resilience was undeniable, but the question remained. How much more of this was she supposed to endure?
Clark, the hesitation, working inside the reverse. Oh, and took a big hit there on Jackie Young.